out there, the public, are outraged by what happened. I've not seen a single person who said, oh, the paramilitary officers are brutal. It's good that they murdered 2 of them and seriously injured 1. Not a single post of mine. And I've got 21,000 followers on this account. I've got about 19,000 followers on the other profile, which is my personal profile, which is being censored heavily by Facebook. Now, let's go to the matter. These 2 PCs will live forever. They are our heroes. They fell in the service of the Republic of the Gambia. They died heroes' deaths, and forever they will remain our heroes. And I feel sorry that despite several occurrences of this nature, that the government of President Barrow hasn't learned that the security of a state is not actually reacting to the events that confront the state. The security of state is largely intelligence-led and largely preventative. Now, this is where the government of President Barrow consistently fails. Preventative leadership. They'll often react. I'll come to that in a minute. But to start with, what happened here? According to sources, reliable sources, these 3 police officers were at a checkpoint, road checkpoint. We have lots of them in the Gambia. Checkpoints where the police mount up their temporary stops, sometimes so that they can investigate the activities of the state, sometimes because they want to calm the traffic on particular routes of the state, sometimes it's because they just want to basically do policing as people would sometimes do, intelligence-led, whatever you call the checkpoints. I have my own view of the countless checkpoints we have in the Gambia. Again, these countless checkpoints will become very important in my Facebook Live today. All right? It will become very important when we start talking about how the suspect of the double murder managed to escape Sukuta checkpoint, managed to escape all the numerous checkpoints between Sukuta traffic lights until the suspect allegedly got to Dar Silame. Again, between Sukuta and Brikama, there are several checkpoints. If we take the Farata Jambur Highway, several checkpoints. If we take the Sukuta Jambanjeli Highway, there are several checkpoints. If you take the Brikama Highway, to Brikama and then to Dar Silame, there are several checkpoints. Now, these checkpoints will become very important. If these checkpoints turned out to be futile, then what's the point in having these checkpoints in the first place? Because they were supposed to be intelligence-led. So if I committed a crime at A, by the time I got to Z, there are checkpoint B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, X, 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 W, Y, Z. Now, the intelligence operation of these checkpoints are, at the moment the criminal offense has been alleged, the next police checkpoint should be aware at the direction of travel of the suspect. Immediately. I'm sure the police have got their own coding and communication systems. And I'm sure not only the 3 paramilitary officers who stood at the checkpoint were at that particular checkpoint, because from my experience, there'll be 1 or 2 standing at the checkpoint itself in the middle of the road, and there'll be another 2 or 3 or many more sitting by a kiosk nearby, or by a shop nearby, or sitting in their vehicles for standby and rotation as they stand at these checkpoints. Now, you have numerous checkpoints between Sukuta traffic lights until you hit Brikama, until you hit Dar Silame. That escape route will become clearer as I pick the pieces apart on today's Facebook Live. Now, the shootings at our checkpoints are nothing new. There was one in North Bank region, armed robbery. There was one at Senegambia Bridge, Transgambia Bridge, it should have been called, but they gave the name to Senegal. We can talk about that at a later date. All right? There were checkpoint shootings at different places. Yes, violent crime has become a mainstay in the Republic of the Gambia. And the only way we're going to see the back of it is to see the back of Adama Barrow and his cabal. And they have every reason to be so proactive in this particular case of an alleged suspect called Usainu Bojang, who shot 2 police officers and killed them, and shot the 3rd one and injured her. The 3rd one is in hospital, has been treated. She's in a critical condition, and I'm praying for her speedy recovery. It's a woman police officer or woman police constable. Now, what happened on a Tuesday? When it happened, in about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, I got information that there was a shooting round about Sukuta end. My family lives down that end as well. We live in Jabang, but they travel a lot, especially at that time of the evening, between Senegambia and Jabang, Paradise Estate. I was informed that there was a shooting, but they didn't know what happened. They could hear gunshots. They could see people running helter-skelter. Now, at the point of the shooting, where were the backup paramilitary officers, the other police officers who could have gone on for the rotation of the shifts? Where were they? Where was the vehicle that they brought to that checkpoint? Where was the intelligence information? How come the police in other places? And I'm sure the people didn't just stand there and watch somebody just pull the trigger. And as the shots rang out, nobody rang the police. Nobody confronted the suspect. Nobody chased the suspect. They just stood there and took photos of the vehicle, took photos of whatever they could, and said the suspect fled on foot or whatever, maybe went into another vehicle. The story is not conclusive, because the story is being told by people who have an ulterior motive to turn a genuine crime, or probably a staged crime, into a blame game against the opposition parties. I'll come to that in a minute. The long game they're playing is for us all to untangle, and I'll untangle it. I'll not go into deep evidence that have been sent, because the matter is still being investigated by the police. I'm not going to go into it, because people sent me all sorts of stuff. I don't know which one is true and which one is false. I'm just reading into the government's attitude towards this case. This is a government that previously didn't care. You will shoot drug law enforcement officers, and they'll be in critical condition. They'll let them die instead of taking them to Senegal next door or taking them to Ghana next door to treat them. They'll watch them die. Mamina Baji died because he got seriously injured in operation with the drug law enforcement agency. The treatment would have cost nothing more than $150,000. They refused to fly the man to Senegal or to Ghana to go and get treated, even though his fatal injuries were sustained in operation for the Republic of the Gambia. But we'll come to that. I mean, it's happened so many times. Our security services were shot by Senegalese vehicles at our checkpoints at Faravenye. Our security officers were shot in Kanilai by Senegalese forces or common forces. Our security officers being shot at checkpoints left, right, and center. In fact, a police station was raided by armed robbers, and they took police mobile phones and all the paraphernalia that they wanted to take with them. But let's come back to this particular crime where PC Balde, or is it Pate Jallo, died, and Mr. Gomez. The unfortunate incident happened on Tuesday evening, and I was informed a few minutes later. But then I didn't get most of the information, so I kept it that way. I didn't write about it. I was trying to source the information. Now, the suspect himself fled, apparently, aided by his family members, according to stories. Now, I'm beginning to doubt every single thing that comes out of the government right now. And indeed, the police themselves, because the police have got an interest in this case, so that they will not show that they were negligent in their own statutory duty of protecting the public. All right? The police will do everything possible to make themselves look like they did everything possible to prevent this crime, to try and save the shot brothers and sister, to try and apprehend the suspect before he left the Gambian shores. They have a vested interest in this. And as we saw from the spokesman of the Gambia government, who I would rather now, at this point, I want to call him the government spokespoison. All right? He's the spokesperson of the government. I'll call him the government spokespoison, because the Gambia government spokesman is nothing but poison. The guy has got a penchant for basically spreading blatant lies that are obvious to everyone. Okay, so now they're talking about the suspect being a former rebel of the Casamas movement for democratic change in Casamas, or movement of forces for democratic change in Casamas, or MFDC. All right, we call them Casamas rebels to be short. Now, we'll get to that. We're not in Casamas yet. This is Gambia with the numerous police checkpoints we have. So the guy shot these police officers and repeatedly went there, had an argument with them according to eyewitnesses, the reports we had, went and argued with the paramilitary officers, came back, went back to his vehicle, picked up a firearm, went back and shot the police officers, and then fled on foot, left his vehicle there. Or maybe he drove the vehicle. Who knows? Because the stories are so inconsistent. I find it very difficult to understand how the Gambia government spokesperson managed to conclude that this guy and his co-conspirators sat in a hotel, discussed stuff, he was paid lots of whatever he was paid, or was given incentives that gave him the motive to go and murder, of all the people, to go and murder the paramilitary officers, the police officers in the Gambia. 2 of them and nearly killed the 3rd. So who were the people who met the suspect in a hotel room or in a motel room and planned the killing of our officers in a uniform? That's the question we need to be asking. How did the Gambia government know that before the suspect was actually extradited from Senegal to the Republic of the Gambia government spokesman released a statement apportioning blame without naming people? I pointed a finger at UDP if I was reading the Gambia government spokesman's press release. My finger would be going down in that direction straight away based on the Gambia government spokesman's press release. How did he know that the suspect was still in Casamas according to them? I'll come to that. I'm just taking this whole hoo-ha step by step, methodically, to a point where we can build a picture. It will not make sense. The picture will not make sense. It's like dipping a crab in ink and putting it on an A4 white paper. That's what the picture looks like to me right now. And I'm sure there are several Gambians who could see crab claws on that white A4 paper, and they cannot make sense of what the crab was trying to paint. That's the situation we are. The more the Gambia government opens their mouth to speak to the public, the more the lady that allegedly apprehended the suspect opens her mouth and talks, the more interviews they make of people who might know the alleged suspect, Bojang, the wider the gulf, the more mysterious the case gets, the more difficult it is to untangle this high season drama. Unfortunately, on this occasion, it's tragic and took the lives of 2 of our paramilitary officers. An avoidable situation. Security is largely successful when it's prevented, when events are prevented, not when the government reacts. Now, so this guy allegedly shot these people. The public was there. The police never responded to the scene. The guy fled. The police never pursued him. No hot pursuit. The favorite word between Adam Barrow government and Macky Sall. Hot pursuit. Yeah? Hot pursuit. Because previously, the Senegalese will not extradite the people who commit crime and run into Senegal from the Gambia. It'll become important. Listen to this. Pay attention. Previously, all the people who committed crime in the Gambia, most of them Senegalese, will shoot Gambian citizens, and then they'll go back into Senegalese territory. Senegal will not extradite them. In fact, Senegalese army is taking a village chief or village alcalo and other people from the Gambia and took them to Senegal and brought them back. Nothing was happened. No suspects were extradited to the Gambia. On this occasion, the extradition was swift, very quick. Did you ask yourself why that's the case? Why? Why was the extradition this fast? There is a boy here that is still being looked for by the police, Gambia police force. One boy committed murder in Banjul and he was on the run. And they don't know where to catch him. It took weeks, days. I don't know whether they apprehended him now. Committed a crime in Banjul for weeks. They can't find the boy. He's obviously not on Gambian soil. They couldn't find him. Senegalese army is probably not interested. Senegalese forces probably not interested. Several people committed crimes in the Gambia and fled to Senegal. Nobody saw them. Gambia police force didn't pursue the crime. Senegalese forces didn't pursue the crime. We still don't know where these people are. But this one particular case was swift. There was ransom offered by the President of the Republic of the Gambia. And there was ransom offered by another creature from the former APRC executive. I don't even want to talk about his name. I've mentioned his name, sorry. Why was this particular case so efficiently dealt with between the two states? For the first time, brothers and sisters, I'll come to it. It's a long game. So you got to be patient with me as I break down these pieces one by one. So he shot somebody at the scene. No reaction from the police. No trigger was given to the army because the army could have barricaded at the front of their barracks, just in front of the airport, Yundum Barracks. Kartong would have been ready, the outpost. Brikama would have been ready. We have a army barracks in Dar es Salaam, for God's sake. Just a simple mobile phone. Even if the police radios were not working properly. Did the police radios work properly? Are the police systems functioning? All the suspects fled. They're gone. The police can't catch them. They're gone. This particular case was swift. It was efficient. It was so mysterious. It's become so, basically, so uncharacteristic of the Barrow government and its policing and the hot pursuit agreement. It used to be somebody commits a crime in Senegal and comes to the Gambia. The Senegalese will come and nab them and take them back to Senegal. Or the Senegalese will shoot that Gambian citizen with their drones or with their military equipment and kill them like they did to 6 people from Fonyi. They don't bring them back to the Gambia alive. But this particular crime was so swift, so efficient. Are you guys asking yourselves questions? Nobody reacted to the crime scene. He did what he had to do, had the time to flee on foot, left his vehicle there. Which other vehicle did he get into to go all the way to Dar es Salaam? How much time did he have? Where were the backup paramilitary officers who were always sitting by the kiosk or some shops nearby? Did they all leg it? Did the police communication fail? Did all the checkpoints go to sleep? Now, let's forget that bit now. The suspect succeeded in running across the border to a town in Casamance, Senegal. Southern Senegal is called Casamance. That's where the rebel groups are. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. Again, Gambia government is come out with another release. The security advisor of the Gambia government said that Ousseynou Bojang, the suspect, was a former rebel or is a serving rebel. That he fought alongside the separatist movement in Casamance called MFDC. Now, pay attention to this, brothers. Bearing in mind, if anyone committed a crime in the Gambia and ran into MFDC territory, not even Senegalese army dares go into that. Yes, my professor for the Chor, I'm aware of Sabali's arrest. I'll come to that in a minute. Invitation, rather. Bear in mind, listen to this. If you're not Gambian and you're not Senegalese, you don't know what's happening. This is why I'm taking this step by step. Let me build this building. The picture will not make sense, as I said to you. It's like dipping a crab in ink and putting it in the A4 paper. By the time I finish this whole thing, the matter will become more of a conundrum than at the beginning when I started talking. But then you'll get an idea of the long game being played by the Barrow government. All right? So now, this guy is a former rebel, and by all accounts, he didn't fall out with the MFDC. Because MFDC, if you fall out with them and you run away, you don't dare run across Kartong border or Dar es Salaam border and go and sit in Jululu. The MFDC rebels will know about you, they'll arrest you. All right? So the suspect runs away, goes into MFDC territory, passes that, goes to Jululu, a town in Jululu, in town, after committing a double murder against the state, because killing police officers in uniform, military officers in uniform, prison officers in uniform, drug law enforcement officers in uniform is a crime against the state. It's a crime against Adama Barrow. Now, you committed that crime. The safest place for you to go as an ex-rebel of the MFDC, according to the Gambia government security advisor. Pay attention to this, brothers. I'm not here to waste your time. No Gambian knows my politics to be associated with lies. I'm just giving you why you got to be careful at first accounts of events that you receive when incidents happen. Because we have a government today that's not interested in the security and safety of the citizens, but interested in entrenching itself. And we have a beleaguered government that's under siege. And if you noticed, if you watch Adama Barrow properly, you will know that he was not happy since the local government elections, because of the heavy blow that the opposition has done to him. They're going to devise a mechanism. All right? They're going to devise a mechanism to be able to stop the opposition before 2026. Pay attention to this. I'll come to that. That's the last recommendations and conclusions I'll give you. The scenarios will come. I'm just building a picture which still will not make sense despite my efforts to build that building so you can see the vivid image. It will not make sense for now. If he was a rebel, he didn't fall out with MFDC, because the last thing you want is being a rebel in Casamance. You fall out with MFDC and you hide in Gunjur. MFDC rebels, Casamance and Gambia is like no proper security in between. The rebels come in and out. In fact, in 2018, 2019, Gambia government said they arrested some rebels around about Madiana End, I think, Combo South. They arrested rebels there. That came quickly after they accused Fonyi of harboring MFDC rebels. They found no rebel in Fonyi, but they found some rebels in Combo South. So this guy, an ex-MFDC, didn't fall out with MFDC. You think after the double murders, he'll go and join the ranks in the MFDC and say, look, I've come in and I'm going to lay low in here so that the Senegalese army and the Gambia army and the Gambia police force will not come and arrest me. If I was ex-MFDC, that's what I would have done. Nobody's going to touch me. Not a single soul, not Senegalese army, because the Senegalese army are close to worthless. Their best job is shooting unarmed civilians. They've been trying to dislodge the MFDC since 1982, unsuccessfully. Right now, every time they have confrontation with MFDC, they come out bloodier than the rebels themselves. So you think an ex-rebel, who by all accounts, if he was an ex-rebel, there was no report of him falling out with Salif Sadio and his separatist movement in Casamance. That's the best place he would have gone and laid low. But, ladies and gentlemen, now listen to this. The guys committed a crime, ran across the border. Of all the places in Casamance, Jululu is a town where the population is huge, and if you can't hide successfully in Jululu for too long. But the people in Jululu will probably have very good connection to the internet. They might have seen photos of the shootings and killings of Gambian security officers. Word might have got round on WhatsApp and Facebook and everywhere. If you go to a remote village somewhere, desolate village, some people don't even have mobile phones. If they have mobile phones, they will not have mobile network. They will not have signals. Those were the places any sane person would have gone and sought refuge. Stayed low, stayed under the radar to avoid any detection by witnesses or security services. But this Usainu Bojang, the gentleman they're accusing of calling the shots, of all the places, went to a town, renowned town, Jululu. I've been there myself. Not once, not twice, not three times. I've sat by the riverbank of Jululu Bridge. I sat there a few times. That's the last place you want to go if you wanted to hide. All right? As if that's not strange. The chap goes to Jululu, seeks out a lady who doesn't live in Jululu. The lady happened to travel at the same time to Jululu. I don't know if you're following. ladies and gentlemen. The suspect fled the Republic of the Gambia, went to a famous town in Casamance, popular town. But at the same time, a mysterious lady traveled at the same time to go to an event in Jululu, according to the lady herself. All right? Very strange set of circumstances. At the same time, they didn't tell each other. They didn't know. The suspect was fleeing. So obviously he wasn't thinking who will be in Jululu to start with. Who lives in Jululu? Where I can go and hide publicly. Yeah? The suspect didn't know. He was fleeing, so he must be thinking, who lives in Jululu so I can go and hide publicly? Because Jululu is not a town that's quiet. So in the course of that running, a mysterious lady from somewhere also traveled to Jululu same time. And the ladies, according to our audio, she doesn't live in Jululu. She's married in the Gambia. So how did he know that, okay, I'm fleeing, I'll run to Jululu, the most public of places. But in Jululu, there must be this lady that I can go and ask to hide me. Oh, yeah, I know that lady from the Gambia, so she can hide me. Oh, by the way, this lady is related to Adama Barrow, or knows Adama Barrow's brother very well, according to our audio. Their bodies. In fact, that's the first person the lady called when the suspect ran to her home. How did the suspect know that this lady's house in Jululu is at point X? How did the gentleman know that this lady's house in Jululu, the lady that doesn't live in Jululu, ladies in Gambia, married in the Gambia, that she was going to travel on this particular day or the day before when I'm fleeing, then I'll go to a public place and hide. Not even ostriches do that. The ostriches will run from the public and then stick their heads in a small hole and their ass will be out there. At least they make an effort. Yeah? Now, yes, I'll come to what the chap was saying in the audio. I'll come to what the chap was saying in the audio. All right? Now, the suspect ran. Didn't even try like an ostrich to stick his head in sand somewhere and think that his ass is covered. An ostrich will be proud of its effort, because at least the ostrich ran away from the people, put his head in a small hole and thought it was hidden. This chap didn't even try. He knew there will be a lady traveling from the Gambia. They never spoke before he got there. The lady doesn't live in Jululu, according to our audio. How did he know where the lady lived? Of all the people, a big Barrow supporter, close to Barrow's brother, you committed a crime against the state, against Adama Barrow's government. And then you went to Adama Barrow's biggest supporter, who happened not to be from that place, but you somehow, instinctively, or as a psychic, knew that this lady will travel to Gambia, from Gambia to Jululu, same time as me. Let me go and find her at her house and seek refuge there. Not only did you do that, you got there and straight away you started confessing as to what you did. So, brothers and sisters, the lady too, the conversation starts. If I see somebody I know, if I met Mamadou Sabali, who was invited to the police station for questioning, again, intimidating the opposition. Adama Barrow is learning from Macky Sall, but he will not succeed, because we're not going to take that sort of brutality at all, at any level, because the opposition is now bigger than the government itself. We're not going to take that. But let me come back to it. Lady met somebody she knew. You meet somebody you knew, right? Your friends or your neighbors. Straight away you pull out your recorder and you start recording the chap. Why? Isn't that strange? You met somebody you knew. I met Fode Chor today. Or I met my beautiful sister, Tida Bobo Kijera. And I pull out my recorder. I start recording and Tida says, "Oh, Mr. Lamin Tamba, are you recording me?" That's what the lady said in our audio. We could hear it. So she said Useno asked if she was recording him. Why would you meet somebody you knew before, your friends or your neighbors, This is not like you in a police interrogation room, or somebody's actually told you that's the suspect, or that's somebody that did that. So start asking him questions and record him secretly. This is somebody seeing you. Weirdly enough, they met at a strange place at the same time. And the guy straight away confessed, and the guy straight away asked a big Barrow supporter, probably related to Barrow or Barrow's brother, to help him conceal a crime against Adama Barrow and his brother. And then she starts recording, and the guy says, "Oh, are you recording me?" She says, "No, I'm not recording. Why would I record you? Here's my phone. My phone is in my hand." So what was he using to record the guy? And why record him? Who does that? Very strange. This is like stuff I've never heard before. Usually when they ask for witnesses, they will say, "Oh, I saw a young black man with a baseball hat. He was wearing a green shirt and was wearing pink shoes and green and yellow trousers." Yeah? That's the description they'll make of the suspect. If the suspect was an ex-rebel, the safest place for him to go and hide, is MFDC barracks. So the lady says, "Oh, I recorded him." And the lady again dug a hole for herself. He says, "You know, I'm close to Adama Barrow, Adama Barrow's brother. You know, I'm a big supporter of Barrow, and you committed that crime to stain Adama Barrow's government." Did they coach the lady to say those kind of words? Because if you use a schoolboy to do a man's job, this is what actually happens. She said, "Oh, you went and committed that crime against Adama Barrow's government so that you can stain his government." How does she know that was an attempt to stain Barrow's government? That's what she said in her audio. "You committed this crime to stain Adama Barrow's government, and you know I'm an Adama Barrow supporter." Did they tell her that this is what you need to say when you're recording him? That this crime, the security situation that you've done there, is so that you can stain Adama Barrow's government. Why? Why would you go there anyway? You met somebody, "Oh, I killed 2 people. First and foremost, if I kill 2 people and I told my next door neighbor, they will